Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP Datasphere training with me Anubhav. In our last episode we talked about creating tables from the blank table option as well as uploading from a CSV file in SAP Datasphere. We talked about the concept of data builder and the different artifacts associated to the data builder section. Then we talked about the difference between dimensions and measures. I've explained you what is a measure and what is a dimension along with the fact data and KPI. We talked about creating our data model for a store data. We have uploaded created the sales transaction, the store, product and sales manager table. Then we discussed about creating the time dimension data, the ER diagram, and also creating the views in SAP Datasphere. We started with graphical views in SAP Datasphere. We talked about creating, or we have created the view for our store manager, including a dimension view for the store name or store data, along with the view for sales order data for the second exercise. We discussed about association concept within the view and created different association of our transaction data of the store with the different master data like product, store, store manager and time dimension. In today's session, we will begin to consume our objects in Analytics Cloud. And to be able to do that, we need to begin with something called a analytic model. So let's get started with what is analytic model under the data layer section to expose our content to SAP Analytics Cloud. So I'm going to switch over back and we are going to start discussing about the concept of introduction to the analytical model layer. Yes, let's start with that. So I come here and we will understand what is an analytical model. So this is basically a relatively new concept. If you work with SAP Data Warehouse Cloud in the past, this concept was not there. It was introduced in March 2023. So the analytical model is one of the cornerstone of SAP DataSphere. In that, it allows multi-dimension modeling and semantically rich data modeling to answer business questions. That is what analytical model actually do. So it answers the business questions much easier, faster and more efficient manner. That is the purpose of analytic model. Now you may be already worked with many different analytical models in your career. Yes. So let me give you an example of why do we actually need analytical models in a traditional development environment. So let's try and understand why we need an analytical model. Think about it when it comes to consumption and uses. So suppose in your company you have a SAP BW system, or maybe you have a SAP DataSphere system. Now here is where you created a database table. Let's say for example sales table. Now this sales table contain 2 billion records. Yes, you created that. Later point of time, you will connect this to a SAP Analytics Cloud system, more preferably, but it could be any consumption tool like Power BI or anything. So you connect it with SAP Analytics Cloud for consumption. So your requirement is to basically build a total revenue in the sales per country. So let's say you get India, US, and Canada. So now your table contains 2 billion records. and you need to display total sales revenue per country. Now, just think about it. To display this data inside data analytics, what you need? Technically speaking, you just need India, total revenue, let's say 250 million. Then you say US, total revenue about 500 million. And let's say you have Canada, total revenue about 370 million. Now, you do not need to transfer 2 billion records from SAP BW or DataSphere to the analytic cloud. If you do that, the 2 billion record consumes heavy volume. Now, first of all, transferring 2 billion record over the network is very expensive and time consuming. Yes, it's very, very time consuming for you to transfer this data. Second problem is you also need a large store volume to store this data in your analytic cloud. Third is you're duplicating the data from DataSphere to analytic cloud, which is not also recommended. Yes. So these are the three challenges if you have large volume of data and you want to build analytics and insight, you don't want to transfer everything. Now the question comes, how do I answer this question then for the business? So the answer is you will create something called a multi-dimension model. You do modeling. So a multi-dimension model is named called multi-dimension, which means it allows you to look at your data from different dimensions, from left perspective, from top perspective, from right perspective, from bottom perspective, from front perspective, from back perspective. So you will be able to view your data from different dimensions perspective. Like what's the total sales by country? What's the total sales per currency? What's the total sales per region? Yes. What's a total net quantity sold per country? Yes. So to be able to get this insight, you just need how many records? Three records. You don't need 2 billion records. Yes. So this capability the table doesn't give you, or table can give you, but you need to fire a SQL. Every time you want to read this data, you need to fire an SQL. So this is the first challenge. If you want this kind of data, you don't want to fire SQL. Second is it's all the communication is over services because we are running in the browser. The browser don't understand SQL. They understand service calls. So the communication has to be via service call. Second is we don't want to write SQL. So that's where the answer is multi-dimension model. So it serves three purpose. One, it allows you to view the data, aggregate the data, look at different perspective of the data from different angle, different dimension. Second, it can be consumed over a service. Third, you do not need an SQL. Fourth, it reduces the volume of data transfer from DataSphere or BW system to analytic cloud. That is why multi-dimension modeling is very, very important. So what you do is you ask this multi-dimension model, hey model, tell me what's the total sales per country. It will return you just three records. And it's easy to transfer these three records to analytics cloud as compared to transferring 2 billion records and then doing some kind of a logic or loop here to calculate total sales. Not a recommended approach. That's why we use multi-dimension models in every system. Now, today, as you talk about DataSphere, the multi-dimension model here in today's class will be uh, the analytical model. Tomorrow, if you go to, let's say, a HANA system, just HANA, pure HANA database, a multi-dimension model is actually called as calculation view. You create a calculation view of type cube. If you tomorrow go with another system like SAP S4 HANA, this multi-dimension model is CDS view. If you heard about CDS view, these are also multi-dimension model. So every technology which SAP deliver, they deliver multi-dimension models. These multi-dimension models have power to aggregate your data, ask business questions, and get you the business answers without transferring large volume of data. It is easier to consume, faster to consume, and more efficient to work with the multi-dimension model. Fantastic. So that is the concept of multi-dimension model. So this is what analytical model is. So one of the feature of DataSphere, which is a multi-dimension model, and the analytical model elevates the rich data and semantics. Now, what else is the another benefit of a multi-dimension model? So guys, your table doesn't contain too much extra information. Suppose my requirement is to apply currency conversion. If I want to do currency conversion, I can't do it on my original data. I don't want to contaminate my original data. Yes, I want to add an extra measure. Let's say count of records. Yeah, I want to add a exception aggregation, aggregate data based on a particular dimension. And I want to enrich this with some extra labels for displaying the data. I want to add security on data, security feature. I want to add parameters. I want to add filtering. Yeah, all these extra stuff you do not do on original data, because original data will be used by different multi-dimension models for different use cases. So you can apply all of that directly on your model level. So a multi-dimension model also gives you that capability where you can elevate the model experience with extra information like rich data, and rich data with extra properties, add semantics of SAP DataSphere for immediate consumption in SAP Analytics Cloud. So after last class, I received one email from one of you. Anubhav, I'm trying to view my view which you created in this training. So we created a view in the last episode, and you saw when we created that, you must be thinking, can I use that view now in Analytics Cloud? Because we already did the connection, but I was not able to see the view. Why? So guys, views cannot be consumed directly in Analytics Cloud. You must have to create a analytical model to be able to use it, or there are other artifacts which will also show you at later point of time. So broadly, it provides following benefits. What? Multi-dimension model. So what are the benefits? First is rich measure modeling. So with the calculation, we can add aggregation, restricted measure, exception aggregation, as well as a possibility to stack all of these together. And then user can build very complex calculations also. You will see today, I will show you something called a formula builder, which is part of this process, where you can add and enrich your content with formula. You can apply currency conversion as well. Then we can careful design how analytics user see the data. That is another benefit you get. So you can develop multiple different analytical model for different use cases to be able to project your data to the user the way they want. So modelers can curate with measures, attributes, associated dimensions to expose to the user. This helps analytics user to see exactly what data is relevant for them, and hence it reduces the likelihood for errors and boost performance. So you don't want to transfer large volume of data to analytic cloud over the network. You want to do all the intelligent logic for your data perspective within this model. Yes, you see here the requirement was to just show 3 records and this chart, yeah, which is suffice enough to display with 3 records. But you certainly don't want to transfer these 2 billion records over there, right? So that is what the another benefit you get. Then collection of user input via prompts in SAC. So in Analytics Cloud, you will see I'll show you something called a prompt feature, where you can also input the data to your analytical model with the help of prompts, means filter criteria. So the another benefit you get is, let's say I want to give user an option to go ahead and filter the data based on, let's say, sales organization. So only show me this data for sales organization 1001, 1004, and 1009. Now, again, think about it. If you want to do this kind of filtering criteria, one option is you transfer all the data to the analytic cloud and do filtering here. Yeah, do filtering here for your data. but that is again expensive. So what you can do is you can also say, hey, I want to filter data for these three sales organization. And then what you do filtering in the data sphere. You filter data in data sphere and you only transfer data of your relevant insight and analytic for these sales organization. That happens via something called prompt in Analytic Cloud. So using the prompt, you can pass a filter to Datasphere, and Datasphere then will do the filtering of data. So the idea here is to minimize the amount and the volume of data transfer from SAP Datasphere to Analytics Cloud. So that is another great feature what it offers when it comes to analytical model. Next, we have rich preview capabilities. So you can directly preview your data. So modelers can inspect the result of their modeling effort in place, because SAP Analytic Cloud have another feature called data analyzer, which is tightly embedded with the analytical model. So we can slice and dice the data. We can create pivot tables. We can filter. We can use hierarchies and different features which are available. With the help of that, we can understand the data which will be presented for the final consumption. So that is another benefit we get with rich preview capabilities. Then time dependency support. So analytical models support critical features for let the user travel back and forth in time, while lines of businesses, structures and organizations are constantly evolving. So you can also go back to the previous state. You can travel back and forth between the different line of businesses, so you will be able to do multi-dimension modeling from different angles. Yes, and also you can, it's possible to just update, let's say, one dimension, rest other dimensions remains constant. So organizations are constantly evolving, changes are always happening, so you would want to make sure that you always have a version management and capability to restore to the last level or do not contaminate other dimensions when they are not needed to be. Then we have the dependency management and transport. So with the complex analytical project, it requires careful planning and a sophisticated tool set to manage the dependencies and life cycle of all modeling artifacts. So the analytical model is fully integrated into DataSphere repository. Hence, it benefits from the impact, the lineage analysis, change management, transport management. So all the capabilities you get out of the box for any traditional BW artifact, like you have transport, version, everything, you will also get it with the help of analytical model. So now let's go ahead and create a analytical model in our system for our sales order view first, and then I'll create also for the store. So I'll switch over back to Analytics Cloud Tenant, and we go to Data Builder, and we will find here an option to create an analytical model. Yes. So last class, we also created a connection. If you all remember, just to remind you quickly, we went to Analytics Cloud and we have created a connection with our DataSphere tenant. The tenant is 46501. So if you come here, I have done that connection 46501. Here it is. Yes, this is the connection which we did. So now if you try to build something in Analytics Cloud, you will be utilizing this connection. But some of you have tried it already, because some of you already taken my Analytic Cloud training and you know Analytic Cloud. You went ahead and you tried to create a story or something, but perhaps it did not work for you because you were not able to see the table, sales order, or the store data which we created in the last class. Yeah, but today we can do that. So I'll go back and create an analytical model. Oops, I'm so sorry, I signed out. Let me go back again to sign in. Just give me 1 second. I need to log in again. So I'll just log in again, and we will create a new analytical model. So let's come here to the data builder and you see new analytical model. Let's choose that, and super easy that we can simply look forward for our objects available over here. So you see all these objects which we had created or developed in the past. So the one which we work with was sales order view. Yes. So this is the one. I drag and drop that. I say add all dimension attributes and measure attributes to my analytical model. At the moment, we don't have association. If we would have had association, we could have added that. Click on import. You can see it has been added. If there are association, you will see an arrow mark to show also associations, which is good. Let's give the name of the model AM. AM means analytical model. Sales orders. And here we will just rename the technical name to AM underscore. Technical name cannot have a space. Yeah. So let's rename it analytic AM. AM means analytical model. It's a good naming convention to choose. And as I taught you previously in the slide that we can add different variety of content over here to be able to calculate multiple things as part of the system. So let me show you adding a calculated measure. So I click on that and I would like to calculate the difference between the gross amount and the tax amount. Let's say gross amount minus tax amount. I want to calculate a new measure. So I can expand this and I can give a name. So here I can choose new net amount, and let's say I come here and I say parenthesis gross amount. This is the property. So I just go inside parenthesis, I click this, and you see there's a mathematical operator negative with tax amount, and I want to do into 0.90 because I'm giving a 10% discount now to my business. So you can see there are different options to choose. You can use dimensions in the formulas. You can use functions which are provided by SAP. So for example, I want to round off this whole number. So I can use absolute function. So I can pass that and I can now put my formula inside like this. You can create a function. So you can see each function documentation is given. These are the functions provided by SAP out of the box. Many of these categories are like numeric functions, cast function to cast data type conversion, date function, integer function. A lot of these functions are out of the box provided by SAP. You can see the function categories: numeric, miscellaneous, and data type conversion category. We have operators to choose. We can use if condition, case expressions, yes, and or, between, is, null. All of these different operators we can choose along with a complete expression. So this is a complete formula builder which is provided by SAP. Now you can see we have a validate button with which you can cross check and validate your formula. If your formula is okay or not, if there is an issue, you'll get to know that here. Yeah. For example, let me do a mistake. I'll remove this end of parenthesis. If I just validate, you see it is giving me an error that the formula is not correct. So if I just put add that validate, there is no issue anymore. So this is how you can add the formula. So that's my new calculated measure I have done, wherein I can use a formula builder, a very lightweight formula builder to do this calculation. Remember, the good practices, all the calculations should be done in your data sphere layer. You don't want to transfer data to analytic cloud and there do all the calculation. That's a dirty approach. You should embed all the logic, all the calculations here itself, because you want to transfer only the ready data which directly can be projected to the dashboards in Analytic Cloud for easy consumption purpose. So I've added a expression, I've added a formula to the analytical model. Now, next we can go back by clicking this link, and I would like to also add a restricted measure. So what is a restricted measure? So a restricted measure allows you to restrict data based on a perspective. Suppose in my data, I have sales order 1 for India, sales order 2 for US, sales order 3 for India, sales order 4 for US. Now I want to create one more column and I want to show the order number only for India. So I can say 1 and 3 and the remaining values will be null. So this is a new column which only show a perspective based on a dimension. Yes. So that is our restricted measure. So let's create a restricted measure also. and I want to show restricted measure total sales from a particular country, from US, let's say. Yeah. So I come back again, expand, and I will just check here where my, do we have a country currency? We don't have a country. We have sales organization. So you can put sales organization is equals to, let's say, 10001, like this. Yes. So this is how we can add the expression. So I am only interested to look at the gross amount. Yes, the total sum of gross amount for sales organization this. Now I don't know whether this is a correct sales organization or not. So for that I would prefer to go back to our data set in our data kit which we had used yesterday. This is our CSV file which we uploaded, and over here you can see we have different data. So I am only interested to see the sales. Yeah, the sales organization is this. Let me use the America, AMER. So I'll come back and I will choose sales org is AMER. So please get me the gross amount in this new column. Yes, total sales from US, uh, gross amount wherever sales organization is AMER. So wherever sales organization not AMER, the remaining, the value will in this restricted measure will be becoming null. So that's another expression. So let's validate. Everything looks good. We can just switch over back. Yeah. So that is the concept of adding a restricted measure. So these are the common things which you might have done already in the BW also in the past in your company. Yeah. So that is nothing but our restricted measure which we have. Now the next thing which I would like to do is the third option. So I'm showing all the options. Distinct measure. What is distinct measure? So basically this is a measure which you can calculate in your system, and using this measure you will be able to get distinct values. Suppose you want to apply a particular small calculation aggregation, you will be able to do it with a distinct measure. So let's choose that, and I would like to show here a count of sales organization, how many unique sales organization I have in my company. So I'll go back and choose sales organization, and I'll say count total or unique or sales orgs. Yeah. So this can be used, distinct measure can be used to also count the number of sales orders in the system. Yeah. Let me add one more. So this is the count of sales organization. Yes. So it's a measure, you see, unique sales organization. I will add one more, and I'll say order count. All this calculation you should push down to the data sphere because that's where your data is. So sales order ID, unique sales order ID, I will be counting. Now there's one more setting called is auxiliary. What is auxiliary meaning? It means if you add this measure or add this calculation or a restricted measure, that calculation, that restricted measure will only be within the model, can be consumed within the model. It will not be exposed to the outside world, like analytics cloud cannot consume it. If I make it this, analytic cloud cannot use that. Yeah. So that is what called auxiliary flag. If you do this, then it will be hidden for consumption, means nobody outside the data sphere system can use this information. Yeah. So but let's keep it open. So we just have added one restricted measure, one calculated measure, and we've also added the aggregation, or basically the distinct measure for counting the dimension. We are counting the unique sales organizations, and we are counting also the orders. So these are all the things which I've done. I'm very happy with my model. Additionally, we can add variables and filters. So if you add a filter, then later on it is possible to use this filter for the consumption by analytics cloud. So let me also add a filter for partner ID. So user can filter the data. Remember the concept of filtering. User can filter the data based on partner ID. So I've added the partner ID. Just by clicking it gets added. I can validate. Partner isn't a valid condition. Why? I need to put expression. So I need to, you can add a filter with the operators. Yeah, you can also do that. So it will restrict the data transfer to the analytic cloud. I don't want to add right now a hard coded filter. I don't want to do that. Let me just remove it. Yes. In addition, you also have source variable, restricted measure variable, filter variable, and reference data variable. So let me add a filter variable to give a prompt to the user for partner ID. And this will be a range I can provide. I can also provide multiple single value. So I'll offer it a range which is between from to 2. So this is a filter criteria I'm passing. I'm allowing user. You will see in a minute once I go to Analytics Cloud, I will be allowed to filter data based on partner ID. I'm done with that. So we are good. Now let's switch over back. So what we did is we added couple of calculated measure, restricted measure, and also we have added the count distinct measure. Then we have also added a variable with the range filter on partner ID. So this variable will be exposed out, and anyone who is consuming this data model will be able to reuse it from Analytics Cloud via the help of prompt, which I'll show you in a minute now. Now I'm happy with everything what we did. Let's save and deploy our model. So it's called AM sales order, analytical model for sales order dataset. Click on save. Okay, so now you see guys the status of this data object. You can also preview. So that is my analytical model which I've just created over here. So if you see right now it is not deployed, let's deploy it so that we can also preview the data right away right now from this analytical model. So it's deploying. You see it's deploying. So you need to wait until it gets deployed, and then straight ahead we can go to Analytics Cloud. So in the meanwhile, let me go to Analytics Cloud and show you how do you build dashboards here. So of course, this training is not a analytical cloud training. If you want to take analytic cloud training, we have a separate 30, 40-hour power pack course on analytic cloud. But I just try to cover one very simple and basic stuff for all of you so that you guys will be able to get comfortably use this. So basically analytic cloud, you need to know these two sections. First is the file section. So any dashboard or any object which you build, you store them in the files. So there is no spaces concept here like data sphere. The second section is called story. This is where you build your dashboards in a low code, no code environment. Basically, you would not need any coding experience to build these dashboards and stories. So dashboards are nothing but stories. Apart from that, we have analytical application where you can use coding like JavaScript and APIs. We can analyze the data for different data sphere objects like analytical model in data sphere, which allows you to just preview your data in this data analyzer and slice and dice your data on different objects like Bex query, CDS views, or your analytical model from DataSphere. Then we have digital boardroom where you can combine data insights and analytics from different departments together in Analytics Cloud. We have capability to also store data in SAP Analytics Cloud. We can build data sets and data models. So the models which you create here, it's very similar to the one which we created in DataSphere, which is for the purpose of multi-dimension modeling. Then we have data actions which are used in planning, allocation used in planning, and then we have some more features. Apart from that, we have security, connection, and system for system administration activities, where we created the connection in the last class. So you always, as a consultant, start with story. So this again, I would like to say this is not analytic cloud training. You would not do we will not go deep dive inside analytic cloud, but I'll show you some of the just core features which you can use to just experience your models which you build to understand how they will be consumed. In general, as a consultant, I would request you to subscribe our analytic cloud course along with datasphere course. Both the trainings combiningly makes you an full stack expert on building both data insights as well as exposing your content out from the cloud with the datasphere. So we'll start with the canvas page. And I will always use optimized design experience because that's the one which we can use with the data sphere directly. Click on create. And now we have different widgets to choose how we can build our objects. So we have a story. So how exactly it is structured is we usually have something called a story or a dashboard. Inside the story, we can have pages. So you see this is a page. We can add more pages. One is to start. Inside the page, you can have widgets. So you can have multiple widgets. There are different variety of widgets to choose like chart, table, the most common ones, geomap, yeah, button, text, filter controls, input controls, measure input controls, yes, conditional formatting, multiple options to choose from when you build your stories. So now we have got a default page created. Let's rename this to the sales analytics, edit the title, and then we can just add a chart. So what is my requirement? My business requirement is to utilize the sales order data which we created in the data sphere and show the total sales per partner. Yeah. So let's do that. So you can just come down and search for the connection. This was the one which we created in the last episode. And this is our space. We go inside. Wow, there you go. There you go. Your analytic model. And you can see this icon indicates a live model, guys. Live model. The moment data change in SAP data sphere, it will automatically reflect back here in the story immediately. Immediately. Wow. Wow. Let's choose that. And it's low code, no code environment, no coding experience required here to build your data analytics. Now, wow, voila, there you are, there you are. You can see it's giving me a prompt. Prompt for what? Remember, we've added here a variable for partner ID, and that's exactly what is exposed here as a prompt. Fantastic, fantastic. Cool. So now I can give if I want the data values. It's also giving a value help. That's fantastic. Or I can just say cancel. And then I can add my dimensions and measures. So I would want to show total gross sales by the partner ID. Wow. Superb, Anubhav. Superb. Awesome, Anubhav. Cool. Zero coding experience. And now maybe you can go back and say, show me the total top 10 values. Apply. Only top 10 partners I want to see. Wow. That's the total sales from top 10 partners. Fantastic. Now, what you could to do is you can save this first of all. And let's create a folder structure properly in Analytics Cloud. That's a best practice. So we can call it as Anubhav Trainings. That's my main folder. Inside that main folder, I will switch over back and create another folder called Dashboards or Stories. And then inside I can just save my story as sales dashboard. Click on OK. The sales dashboard story gets created. Fantastic. Now our next step is to just go for view. So let's view current tab, new tab. Yeah, you can view here current tab. This is the data. Now look at this button here called prompt. Remember we created a filter where we can filter the data based on partner ID. Yes, that's what we can do. Yes. So let's go ahead and use that option. And I can use this filter and it opens the same prompt. And I can now choose my partner IDs for certain partners to view the data for. So I will use partner 13. Yes. So you can choose here partner. So I can use 13 and I can give a range basically. So I can just choose 13 to, I need to come back and give range. So I want data for partner 13. Okay. To partner 22. So this filter will be injected over the network. It will be sent to DataSphere, and then DataSphere will return only the live data for this range. It will not transfer the humongous data to the analytics cloud. Click on set, and you see it is doing the filtering. So this filtering of data is done deep into the DataSphere. It only transfers the relevant data to you. Now, if you remember, we also calculated couple of measures. For example, the total order count. Yes, that is all the different measures which we calculated. It's time to utilize them. Let's encache all the calculated measures. So I can go back. We have created the unique number of sales order and sales organization and total sales from US, right? So let's come back and go back to here. We will add another chart. This time I will choose the numeric point chart to just display a single digit number, and I will choose my primary value, and you see unique sales, unique order count. Yes. So we have total 49 orders in the data set. Fantastic. And how many sales organizations we have? That also I want to know. So one second, I'll keep it on the left. I'll zoom out a bit. So it gives me a bit of room to create my content. So I can say total order count. Yes. And then I'll control C, control V. I copy and paste. And then here I change my measure back to total unique sales organizations, which are two. So America, AMER, and we have the sales organization as EMEA. I guess these are the two. Now, next I wanted to show only the sales per customer for US customers. Yes. So what I can do is just go back, add another chart over here. Maybe I want to add another chart. It's not finding a space to get that. Yeah, now it got. So let's show here a donut chart with a measure as, let's say I want to show total net amount, which is gross amount minus tax amount of 90%. Remember this new net amount which we calculated with the formula? I want to show that per sales organization. So we have two sales organization, APJ and EMEA. You can see it is showing me the data in the pie chart for the calculated measure. So this is the normal data by partner ID with filtering. This is the total new sales amount, which was a calculated measure for for my sales organization. We have the total order count, and we also have the total unique sales organization count, which you can also observe here. We have two sales organization, EMEA and APJ. Now I will create one more table right at the bottom. This is the right place to make it give a look and feel. Yes. And then we will choose here dimensions like order ID, partner ID. So I will choose here sales organization, order ID, partner ID, and delivery status. And then we can just go and choose measures, where I'll choose the new net amount, gross amount, tax amount, and the restricted measure from US. Remember, this was a restricted measure. So if you go back and check the values, you will see that inside your table, you have gross amount, tax amount. So you can calculate and see if the formula is correctly calculated or not. Let me open my calculator. So we say 36759, 36759 minus tax amount 4084. It's 90%. So 29407.5. You see exact matching. This is exactly what we did calculate it via the formula, and that is what exactly the system is calculating. Yes. Now we had a restricted measure also, if you remember, and the restricted measure was displayed, will be displayed in the table for only the US. Yeah. So let me also choose that total sales from US. Why it's not displaying that value? I'm not sure why it is not coming, but ideally we can display the restricted measure value also on the UI. So this is how exactly we can create our data. And you can notice one thing, that this curly braces indicates that there is a prompt, and system is only showing you the data for partner IDs which you have chosen in the prompt. So you have to go to your prompt, and then you have to choose your prompt and accordingly adapt. You can cancel and set also. It will show all the data across. So there are total 500 orders, 3 sales organization, because since earlier we had a filter, it was filtering data for those partner IDs. So now it is no more filtering. There is no restriction. It is showing you the complete data. Now, one more interesting feature which we can use is we can create an input control. You see this button called input control to allow to do filtering directly in SAP Analytic Cloud. So we can choose dimensions and we can choose the partner ID, filter by member, and now we can just create this filter. We can put this filter over there. So this is the filter we can put over there in this area. So user can now filter the data also. So this is how we can build a very nice, beautiful dashboard quite easily with the help of our data analytics. And you see, I remove the prompts, and this is how my dashboard now look like. I have a filtering criteria also. One more feature is called linked analysis. So I go to my chart and I add a linked analysis. Linked analysis allow you to do context-based filtering. So I can go to settings for linked analysis and I say all widgets on my page with filter on data point selection, or I can only select widgets, filter on data point, and I choose my widgets which I want to apply filter on. Table, let's say chart one, I want to apply filtering, click OK. And now we just first save and let's see the outcome. So what I can do now, I can do drill down. So on the moment you just select something in this chart, watch out, this table is showing currently America, EMEA, Asia Pacific data, and this also showing all the partner IDs for all the sales organization. I go back and click this button here called Asia Pacific. Yeah, I click this particular slice of my donut chart, which is Asia Pacific Japan. I click on that and you will see it should do the filtering in the table. Oops, it's not doing, something is wrong. I think it will do it in the view mode. Let me go to the view mode to view my story, my dashboard in the output. And watch out, I click on this button and oops, it's not doing, guys. You see, something is not right. Please allow pop-up for this site, enable your live data connection. So I think pop-up is blocked. You see this pop-up blocker. So that's what the system is telling me. And let me try again. I click, it's doing something. I think it's not working. Let's go back and check our linked analysis again. Setting for linked analysis. Oh, it didn't save the change. I'm so sorry. So I say only selected widgets. I choose widgets, table, chart one. Okay. Filter on data point selection and click on apply. I've forgotten to click on apply button. Yeah, let me save and give it a try one more time. We can try it here itself. So watch out. I click the slice of Asia Pacific and voila, look at this. It has got all the data filter for Asia Pacific and also all the partner IDs. So in Asia Pacific, we only have these many partners. Cool. So this is how exactly we can utilize SAP DataSphere we can build a analytic model in SAP DataSphere and consume that in our analytics cloud. Yes. So any questions, anyone? Let me take up questions from chat window. M is mandatory for every data flow. So point one, data flow topic is not yet come. Please wait for data flow topic to come. Second is if I choose calculated measure as auxiliary measure, then use that measure in another formula like measure 2. Will measure 2 be visible to SAC? Yes, it will be. So any measure which you mark auxiliary, only that measure will not be visible in SAC. But all the other measures which are calculated on top of auxiliary measures, they will be exposed and visible by default in analytic cloud for consumption. You can try this at home. Now you know the concepts. Is it possible to export analytical model data as an Excel spreadsheet? Uh, I think no. I think not possible. In analytics cloud, we can do it, but in datasphere, we cannot. Yeah, we cannot do that. Can I do acquire data connection with SAC using datasphere? Yes, you can do that. So that is something which is possible. But why do you want to do that? You don't want to do a acquiring of data. Maybe if you want to do, yes, it is possible. In the coming episodes, maybe in the future, I will also show you that. Okay, how to do acquire data. I'll also show you that. Okay, so any other questions, anyone?
Data. So Anubhav, hi Anubhav.
Yeah, hi, Vicky.
Yeah. So without analytical model, can we not use the consumption in the story?
No, no, we cannot.
Okay.
Direct views cannot be used.
So is it mandatory? So it's a mandatory one.
Yes, you just, it's very easy object. You can just drag drop your view and create an analytic model. You know, there is one more great way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you build a view, if you see when we build a view in the last episode, so if I go to my view definition, which we created in the last class, you would observe that it is also possible to quickly create. So let me open the view, not a new view. Let You can see here, there is a direct option to create an analytic model. Direct option. Yeah. So this is what you could have used to create your analytic model directly rather than creating
Yeah.
separately.
Right. So can we join two tables or
I'm
two
coming to
views
that,
in
sir.
analytical
All
model?
this will be covered after
Okay.
the break. The join and everything we can
Okay.
learn after the break. All right, let's take a break and we come back after a short. So welcome back after the break. So this analytical model can be consumed in SSE. No need to create a separate analytical model in SSE, right? Yes, absolutely. So basically it is very similar to analytical model what you create in Analytics Cloud. Yeah. And it is actually going to be treated like a live data model in Analytics Cloud. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. So this is the benefit you get. You don't need to create any metadata, duplicate any information. This is always the live information, live data, which is feed it to the Analytic Cloud immediately. Yes. Okay. So now let's move on to the next part where we talk about the creation of our next analytical model in DataSphere for our store data. Yeah, our store data which we added in the last episode. We would like to create the same. So I'm going to come back. Once again, I choose Data Builder and we will create new analytic model. So this time you will see the benefit of using the associations. So if you remember in this example, we can do filtering, we can do prompt, we can do a lot of stuff. But what about if we want to do some dashboard where we want to show the data to the user based on different dimension? For example, in this example here, at the moment, only the partner IDs are visible. Partner names are not visible. Yes. So in that case, we can use the associations. So association concept I taught you in the last class, but let's realize the same. In fact, let me do it in the same model first to add association and then expose the information out to you. So I'll go to the analytical model for the sales order which we just added. And I will now add a association. I will add association to my base view, which will be exposed to the analytical model also. So I go to data builder. Let's open the view, which was sales order view. Search for order, and you see different icons indicates what object it is. Yeah. So this is the view which we created. And in this view, we will just go ahead and add the association. Okay, I think I can't add it right now because I may need to bring this data from somewhere else. Maybe we'll do that later. Let's move to create an analytical model for our store data. So I can show you the second technique. So we will switch to the sales transaction view, which we created in the last episode. This one for the store manager. Yes, this is the one. So if you remember, what I also did was I have added multiple associations here, like product, sales manager, time, and store. Now this will give a benefit. What is the benefit it will give you? So later point of time when you build a dashboard, let's say you are showing total sales. Yeah, total sales by sales manager. But sales manager ID is 1001, 1002, 1003. It doesn't give a meaning to the end user. What you can do is, since we have the sales manager association, you can utilize that and you can show the name Sam, yeah, let's say Jack, Robert. All the names will be visible to you because of this association. So that is the benefit of association which it brings to you. Also, if you remember, we have associated our transaction data with another dimension called store, and this store it itself was another view, and in this we have added a geolocation. I hope you all remember geolocation we have added in the last episode with this store dimension view. If you've forgotten, please check the last class video. There will be a great advantage you get because of that. You will be able to create geo maps by adding this geolocation. So let us go ahead and see this in action. How can now we create an analytic model? So option one, which I showed you today, directly go to data builder and create an analytic model. Option two, you can create from here directly. Yeah. So let me click here, and it will now create an analytic model on top of our view, our graphical view. And wow, look at this. So it is showing now all the relationships over here. Fantastic. Fantastic. So all the associations which we created, it's showing with a graphical view to all the association. So these all association will also be exposed out directly to the analytic cloud. Let's name this model for store transactions. And I'll change the name here. The technical name, I'll keep it small, analytic model store transaction. I just click on save first of all. Now I want to additionally add some more thing. So let me first save. I will add another measure, which is count, to count the transaction IDs. How many unique transactions are there in the system? I'll just add that. Switch over back. So you see it will be added. Additionally, we can add a filter, not a filter basically. I don't want to add a filter. So let's maximize this screen. I don't want to restrict my data. I want to create a filter variable. User can pass me date. User can pass me a multiple value for dates. I can set a default value if I want to filter my data. So this is the date parameter I've created. Perfect. Very easy. Let's save that and let's deploy our analytical model to build a dashboard. So you will see a couple of key benefits of using associations. That's a couple of benefits you're going to get. I'll show you those benefits in a minute. So it is deploying, and then we should be able to build our story, another story in Analytics Cloud. So Anubhav, is it possible to create another page itself rather than a completely new story using the second model? Yes, you can. So what you can do is one is you can directly add a page over here, and then you can link to the new model. So one dashboard can use multiple models. It's possible. So it's an interview question. Is it possible to use multiple analytical model from DataSphere in SAP Analytic Cloud single story? The answer is yes. So let's go ahead and add a new responsive page. Responsive pages are used in case you want to build your dashboard for mobile ready. So let's choose that. We can start adding the widgets here by opening the panel from the left and right. And now we can start adding the widgets. So let me add first a chart, and I would like to choose my model. So you see there is this button. Currently the Analytic Cloud story is pointing to one of the analytic model from DataSphere, which is sales order. I will change this model here. It gives me a warning, that's okay. And now I have option to choose another model. I go back to our SAP DataSphere connection, go open the space, and I should see my store transaction analytic model from DataSphere. I choose that. So you can already observe and see now that it is possible to add multiple models which are coming out of DataSphere in a single dashboard from Analytic Cloud. Fantastic. So you see it is giving me a date prompt. I right now set it to empty to see all data. And let's add here the total revenue per store, yeah, or per sales manager. Now when we do this, it should display me total revenue per sales manager. Why it is not doing it? Something is wrong. I may have to save this first and refresh once. No data available. Why? Refresh here. Why the data is not coming out from my analytic model? Let me just go back and check. We can preview the data here at least. No, date range was not a mandatory parameter. Right now, no visible columns. Please select the columns. And the column option is grayed out. I think it takes time to show. We can in the meanwhile open another session and check if the view was giving the data or not. Yeah, let me open another session. There is a trick, guys. You can use the URL till the hashtag and copy and paste to open another session of DataSphere. So we need to investigate our view. As you see, the data is not coming out of our analytic model. So I'm going to go back to the data builder and check our stored transaction view, which we created in the last class. So here it is, the stored sales transaction view. You might be right, it could be because of date filter, but I need to investigate. So let me put a data preview here for sales transaction. And currently it is still not showing the data here. So my original view on top of it, I built my analytic model, is not showing the data. So you see we have added all these associations. If we have issues, then it will not show the data. So you see, I'll just try to preview this sales transaction here. If we do have the data, or did we upload the data last class or not? I don't remember. I guess this has the data. You see no data. So guys, I think the data itself was not uploaded in the last class to our base database table. Yeah. So what I can do is I can open this, the table itself, and see if the data is there in the table. Maybe the data was not uploaded for this particular table. I remember doing it for other tables, but I guess for sales transaction table, I didn't do it from our dataset kit. Let's check it out. So this is how you investigate step by step if something is wrong. You see, there is no data in this table at all. That's the reason your entire stack is not producing any data. Let me upload from our data kit, which I had provided you in the last episode. Upload, browse, and we have the data for sales transaction. This is the data kit. It's already uploaded in the study material of our training. Let me import that. There are 34,000 rows, 34,000 sales transactions are there from this data kit, which we are now uploading. So this is how I investigated. I first check my story. The story was not showing any data. Then I went to the analytic model. I did a data preview. Then I went down to the view level. And then I finally went down to the table level by drilling it down directly. And then I observed that the table itself was not having any data. Hence the data preview was not working. So it is just uploading. You see 69985. It's a big data for our data analysis, which we are preparing. So yeah, I will approve. You can trigger a request. I will approve so that you can view the study material. We just have to wait until the entire data gets uploaded. It's almost done for the sales transaction table. I remember, I think we didn't do this. Okay, now it's done. You see file have been uploaded, and in just few seconds you should see the data popping up in the section. So yes, it's there now. So I'm going to close this particular tab. I don't need that tab. And let's switch over back to the dashboard. And now what I do is I just add a chart to show the total revenue. And you see total revenue is this much. Now this number is quite big, so we can apply a scaling capability. We can go to the styling panel in the design, in the analytics cloud, and we can just choose here different options like scaling. So we say show me the scaling in KBN, and default scale format is 1000. So you see 60,000, 60,600 and 39,000 is the total revenue. Like this we can show the values. So maybe right now unformatted, because we will do also the drill down. I'm going to switch over back and I will now choose my dimension ID as store ID, and you see it is showing store IDs. Now basically when you build a dashboard, you don't want user to see the store IDs. It will make more sense for user to see the store names. That is more semantic information for the end user. So what you can do is you can come back to more option and say display as ID and description. Okay, it's not showing. Never mind. We can just close this, click on add, expand the association. Remember we had association, and now we have options to choose. So I have a store ID. I don't have a store name as such. I think the store name is it is already showing the store name. These are the store names only. Why? Because we've already done the semantic enrichment in our dimension. Now I will also show me ID and description together. So it's basically store name and store IDs are same in the data set. So that is what the system is now showing. So I just show description. Now let me also show the total sales by sales manager. So I'm just going to copy, paste this chart next to each other. And the second one, I will show here the sales manager ID. So we have sales manager ID, and the only exposed property is country for sales manager. Then we have product ID like that. And this is the total sales by sales manager ID. You can see again, it is showing the description. So this is the data. Now, if I just go back, you can see these associations are very, very helpful. So I have done one of the association here with the store data on my transaction data. So as a result of that, if you just check this store object and open this, what we have done in the store view, we have actually enriched this data with a geolocation. This we have done it in the previous episodes. So what we did is we added this extra function to enrich our data with the location dimension. Yes. So the benefit of this location dimension is we can utilize this information directly in the SAP Analytic Cloud. So I can come back and now I add a widget called GeoMap. So I go to widgets, I add a GeoMap. This is a GeoMap control in SAP Analytics Cloud, and I can just choose first of all my map type. So maybe I want to go with a dark gray, and then I will choose a layer. I will add a bubble layer. Let's call it as total revenue. I will choose my dimension and voila, look at this. We've got this location dimension, all thanks to the view which we created on store and enrich it with the geolocation in SAP DataSphere. Now we add the bubble color for revenue, and for all the locations where we have the business, it will show me all the locations as a bubble with the with respect to total revenue. Yes, we can also control the bubble size. Now seems like there is something missing in terms of data. So it's giving me here revenue contains data source that is returned no data. So I think we have a problem with the data itself again. There is no data in the system, it seems. Let me just cross check that. So I will switch over back to my store view and see if the store is giving some data. So I think guys, I have forgotten to upload the data in the different tables. Because of that, it's behaving like this. Yeah, let me just cross check everything. You see there is no data. So somehow either my data got flushed out or there is no data in the system. Yeah. Yes. None of the data was uploaded. Okay. No, it was. You see, we have the we have some information coming up, right? Oh, I understood. Maybe we didn't upload the master data also, guys. I think I remember. We didn't upload. That's why these IDs are coming. The descriptions are also not coming. So let me upload quickly the master data for all the tables really quick from the data kit. Yeah. So let me go back to sales manager, upload the data here from our data kit for sales manager. Don't worry, we can do that now. So system will also show us all the, you see it's done. It's quite fast. It's a master data. Then after that, we have the store data, and we can just click on upload for store. Here it is, the store data, import. Let's go back. So manager is done, store is done, product, and upload product data. Yes, you see, we have description now. You see, yes. So these are the product IDs, technical IDs, and these are the descriptions. So now in the analytics cloud, we should see the description instead of the IDs because we have the master data uploaded now in our master tables. Makes sense. Let's go back to the story and let me remove the map. and try to re-add. Okay, so first of all, let's refresh to see if the reflection of the master data changes will appear here or not. Yes, there you are. You can see the manager IDs. Wow, fantastic, guys. Fantastic. So it's working. It's working. So now you also go back and use your association to display as ID and description. No, this one is still, I think, not showing. Maybe the store IDs are same as description. That's okay. Let's try to add a geomap now. So in that SAP data sphere, what we have done, we have created our sales transaction, and that sales transaction have association with the store ID view. This store ID view, which you look at, we have actually created a location dimension in the store ID view. This location dimension will have a special impact on SAP Analytics Cloud. So now I go back to SAP Analytics Cloud, and what I will do is I will utilize a control called geomap, and let's add this geomap. Change the map type. Let's say I choose dark gray, and now I'll just click on add layer. Let's call it as sales revenue by store. I just click on location dimension, and you can see this location dimension. This is exactly what we created in our data model under data builder in SAP DataSphere. So if you go to the store view in SAP DataSphere, you would notice that in this particular store view, I think I've opened the table. Let me go to the store view. Yes, this is the one. We have enriched our data with a location dimension. So you see, I've added this location dimension function, which is what makes it comfortable for us to create a location. And since the location dimension, you see this location dimension is created, I will be able to utilize this in Analytics Cloud. You see here it is coming. So now I choose that, and I choose bubble color as revenue. So higher the revenue, lighter the color. And wow, look at this. In the geomap, now you can see across US, we have got the different bubble colors. So wherever you have business in US, in all the different counties and cities, you see these are the different stores we have. So you can see the legend, lighter the color, higher the revenue it is giving. In addition, I can also choose bubble size by which store is giving me highest profit. That particular bubble will show in a bigger size. If the size is too overwhelming, you can come down and reduce the size a bit in proportional percentages so that we can definitely do it. So these are the different stores across US I have in my dataset coming live from SAP DataSphere and projected on a geo map. Look at that. Cool. So this is how exactly we can go ahead and design a dashboard by utilizing the additional dimensions which we have. Now, another benefit which I would like to show, that we have also associated our sales transaction with the date dimension. You see date dimension. This allows you to utilize the fully compatible date hierarchy in this system. So I'm going to switch over back, and let's rename this to store insights. So on my store insights page, I will add one more chart to show quarterly sales. Let me move it down at the bottom. Yes. So I need to zoom out a bit to make it more comfortable for me to work with. Yes. Okay. So now here I will show quarterly sales. So let me go back and choose dimension total revenue, and I will choose my dimension as my transaction date. So you can notice, since in SAP DataSphere we have created a association with the date dimension, naturally in Analytics Cloud it becomes a date hierarchy. So and you get this feature for drill down to the data. So if I drill down, Then it shows me sales in 2021 and 2022. If I drill down in 2021, it shows me the sales for all the months of 2022 out of the box. Now let's do a linked analysis of this data with the setting panel, and I'll say all widgets on my page. So if I just go ahead and click June month, watch out your map. I click the button and you can see on the map it is showing the sales in the month of June. Also it is filtered the total sales done by all the sales managers in the month of June, including all the total sales across all the stores. Wow. Now I can do the same thing on the map level also. I can come to the map and do a linked analysis settings, only selected widget on my page, and I would like to do it for my two charts above, 5 and 6. Click OK, apply. Now watch out. I just go back and choose one particular store. Let's say I go inside. Let me switch to the view mode. It'll be easy for us. Okay, I have to save it. It's giving me a warning. And let's view the data. So we have a back and forth linked analysis which can be done on any widget in SAP Analytics Cloud. So I'm going to switch over back. It's going to launch our story. And now I'll switch to the second page, which is Store Insight. It's currently showing all the stores and all the managers and the sales. Now, if I come down and choose a particular store, let's say this one, you see it is doing filtering. So only this particular manager is present at this particular store ST98. Fantastic. So this is how we can apply the filtering on our data. I want to see the sales in the month of December, or let's say I want to see the sales in 2021 alone. So I can always go drill up. So drill down and drill up both are possible because of time hierarchy. Now I say 2022 alone. So all the sales in 2022 across all the stores is visible. Now you can see it is just filtering. All of this happening on the live data from SAP DataSphere. Makes sense. I'm going to switch over back to the edit mode. It's already here. Yeah. Let's add a bit of styling to our page to make our page look more beautiful. So we can come back to the page. Let me just remove the side panels. Select the page, go to styling of the page, and we can just select the page first. And then we can change here the gradient color. I can choose the gradient color look and feel like this with vertical. Cool. So this is how now my application look like with a gradient color look and feel. So bit of styling which we added to our page 2, which is store insights. I think I didn't save. Yeah, I go to switch page 2 and look at this. This is how your experience now look like with SAP Analytics Cloud on a live data model with SAP DataSphere. Makes sense. So that is how we can utilize the power of association, the date dimension, the store ID dimension, which has a location property, which can be used to display the geomap to SAP Analytics Cloud. That is the enrichment which we did in our view. And then we create an analytic model where we added the additional measures for order count or anything. We can do that as well in analytic model. Now let me take up the questions from the chat window. So Anubhav, I think we have not uploaded the data in last class. Yes, Anamika. So that was correct understanding. That was a correct. I maybe I've forgotten to upload, but we did it today and everything was working smooth. Only the CSV data load we did last time. Okay. So now we did it and you saw that it was because of data load. The data was not showing, but now it is. After we done with the creation of stories, can we share this with the client like Power BI reports? Yes. So if you are on SAP Analytic Cloud, there is this share button. You click the share button, you choose your team members with whom you want to share your story. Or you can take this link, you see this link, which you can share with them. You can customize the link by linking it to your domain of your company. Let's say www.ibm.co.in/store data. Yeah, you can customize that link, but for that you need additional permission and configuration as an administrator. They can do that. But as a consultant, you build your stories and you can share them with your fellow colleagues. You can also trigger email notification for them to view the stories. That is how we can share our stories with the fellow participants or with also the team members within my company. Any other questions on the line? Anyone? Any questions on the line so far? Okay. Do we have query designer concept in datasphere?
Uh,
We
yeah,
do have
Anubhav.
SQL view where you can write the SQL view code manually. Yes, but we don't have a query designer. So what you actually did is exactly the query designer thing. But the object in BW is called a query designer. Here it is not called query designer, it's called view designer or analytic model designer. But feature wise, it is doing the same thing. But there is no exact concept called query designer here. Okay. Can we apply cardinality with association? No. Cardinalities are only applied at a join level. And I will show you the next example with the join in a minute. Yes, there was somebody on the line having a question. No? Okay. So, how do we ensure live data connection between DataSphere and S4HANA and AWS? Sir, I'm coming to these things. Please allow me to proceed. So, there's a lot to come. It is just the beginning of our training. Okay. So, what we just saw by far is creating a analytic model and then utilizing the analytic model. So, what are the options you have for consuming your data models in the external tools? So, first option you have is SAP Analytics Cloud. As you saw in the session today, there was a direct consumption of these models in Analytic Cloud as a live data connection. You don't have to create any additional stuff as part of Analytics Cloud. No need to create additional model or anything in Analytics Cloud. Directly, you will be able to consume everything out of the box in the Analytics Cloud. So this is the benefit. This is the feature you have seen in today's class. Any number of data sphere systems can be connected also from different systems of data sphere, different spaces, different models can be consumed in the same story. So that is what you saw that. MS Office integration. So SAP provides something called SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office 365. In the coming episodes, I will also show this later point of time where you can also directly consume your datasphere objects in Microsoft Office and do pivot tables or charts directly in the Microsoft Office over there. Next, we have external consumption using API. This is also part of your training where I will show you that any data which you stored in SAP DataSphere can be consumed via something called an OData API. So they are providing very powerful API management capability through which you can expose your objects, your views, your artifacts out via an API. Suppose your company wants to build an Android application and they want to use data from SAP DataSphere. That is possible. For that, you need to expose it via a web API. Now, I would also like to remind you that by the end of today's class, I will put a complimentary video on basics of OData service in our training material. So I would humbly request you to kindly go through that complimentary video to understand what is an OData service. Because in coming episodes, I will be starting to expose an API and consume OData services. So at that time, you should not be 100% blank about what is OData. So please go through the complimentary video on basics of OData services in our training material, which will be uploaded after today's class. Next, make your data model accessible for consumption tools and other applications. So you can also consume it via Android, Angular, React, or SAP UI5 application. You can also use data using DataSphere by exposing an API. Now, let's begin with the connection overview. So the most asked question by all of you, how do I connect my data sphere with S4HANA or any other third party tools. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about connection overview. Connections provide access to data from wide range of sources. It could be cloud source or it could be on-premise source. So different types of sources you can connect. It could be a SAP or it could be a non-SAP, and also partner tools. So SAP is a very big ecosystem with lots of partner coming and building using SAP or on top of SAP. These partners also provide integration with DataSphere. What is that you can do with the help of connections? So with the help of connections, we can so first of all, connections are specific to spaces. We can only see spaces. We are a member of space overview. Connections are part of spaces. We can create, edit, delete, and validate local connections. We can pause and restart connections with real-time replications. We can integrate open connector and connect to third-party data sources. This is all what we can do in the connection section of Analytics Cloud. Let me go ahead and show that to you. So I'll switch over back. We can go to DataSphere and we can go to the connection section. This is where you maintain the connection with different tools, systems, and partner tools. Let me refresh. Yes. So you can see we can maintain local connection and SAP open connectors. Under local connection, when you click on create button, you will get basically an option to choose wide variety of connections. Now, one very important thing, for every connection, you see this I button. Yeah. This will tell you what is that this connection is capable of doing. Can you use this connection to import metadata? Can you use this connection to import data? Can you use this connection to configure data flow? Can you use this connection to do ETL? Can you do this with the replication flow? So different connections offer different features. These features you can explore by clicking the I button. So you see, if I do connect with the above system, I can create data flow, remote table, and replication flow. All three is part of your training. As and when we progress, once we create connection, I will show you that. Okay. Now, each connection type supports different set of features. So let's talk about that also. So you see, there are wide variety of connections which we can choose. You can filter also cloud versus on-premise. You see, cloud versus on-premise, SAP versus non-SAP, and partner tools, and of course based on features also. Now what is these features? What are these features? Yeah, data flow, model import, remote table, replication flow. Let's talk about quickly the features supported by connection type. So what are the connection type features which we get? So each connection type, it's an interview question, guys, very important interview question, supports a defined set of features. Depending on the connection type and the connection configuration, a connection can be used for one or more of following feature. The first feature is remote table. You just see this data flow, model import, remote table, and replication flow. I will talk about all four features. I will show you each feature later on, but I'm just covering an overview first. Let's talk about remote table. The second one is model import. Next is data flows and replication flows. What are these features? So what is a remote table feature? It allows you and me, we are called modelers, to import table from a source when creating graphical and SQL views or entity relationship model. During the import, the tables are, so first of all, tables, basically tables skeleton will get imported initially. So whenever you use a connection to use a remote table, its skeleton gets imported first. So tables are deployed as a remote table. Depending on connection type, you can use remote tables to directly access data from the source, which is known as remote access. You can copy the full data set of from source system. This is known as snapshot or scheduled replication. Third option is copy data changes in real time. This is known as real time replication. So just think about a use case. Suppose in your company, you have a material master table in S4 HANA or BW for HANA. Now, what Analytic Cloud says that if you have a material table here, there are many ways this table can be used in DataSphere. So in DataSphere, depending on connection type, so this is your connection. Now based on this, there are three options. You can directly access data from the remote source, which means it will just create a skeleton of the table here, just empty structure of the table in DataSphere. Whenever you hit this table in a view, system will make a call to your underlying S4 HANA, BW HANA system to load the data on the fly. Yes, this is option number one, where it directly accesses the data from remote source. In the data sphere, only the skeleton gets created. Option two, when you create it, you can configure that I would want to take this entire data and load it here. Option two, the entire data gets loaded permanently from here to here. But this is not real time because let's say you loaded morning 10 o'clock. So this snapshot is at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, if this source table data change, it doesn't reflect in DataSphere. This concept is called snapshot. Yeah, snapshot. So this whole concept is called data federation. Data federation means you are not creating fresh data type in DataSphere. You are reusing something which is already there in another system. So this concept is called federation. But there are ways to achieve it. One, you just copy skeleton. Second, you copy skeleton and the data. Third, you schedule something. You put a timer and you say automatically in the night, keep loading my data in the night 12 o'clock. That is called real time replication. Or also whenever there is a change here, if somebody change here, please run something which will replicate this data. This is called real-time replication, RTR. Yeah, real-time replication. So three options. One is just copy the metadata. Every time you hit the table, it will go to the source system and try to fetch the data. This is going to be time consuming. Sometimes it will make your view execution very, very slow. Option two, you copy the full set of data at a given time and then schedule a replication that in the night 12 o'clock or every day 10 o'clock it should run. Third, you put some kind of an event which keep checking if are there any changes, are there any changes, are there any changes. The moment there is a change in the source, it will start replicating the data. Now, which option you will choose, it depends on your requirement and depends on how much performance you are expecting from that object and how big that volume of that data set is. All these factors it depends on. Yeah, there are multiple factors it depends on. Anyway, so these are the three options which I explained. Now, we will see all of it in our training. Now, the second concept is called come as model import. What is model import? Model import allows modelers, modelers are nothing but you and me, to import objects from any supporting SAP system. Notice any supporting, not every SAP system is supported. They only support few SAP systems. Only from there you can fetch with rich metadata and if supported with their dependencies. This way, we can leverage our existing investment from customer landscape without rebuilding the objects manually. Suppose in your BW system, you build a BEX query. Now, you don't want to manually go and create everything in DataSphere system. You can do a metadata import, but this is only supported for very few systems. Like BW system is one of them. It is supported. So you saw that a BEX query which you create there, it is equivalent to a analytic model, let's say, in our DataSphere. So you can do model import to get all your BEX query DSOs replicated in the DataSphere as a objects which are DataSphere supported objects. That is called model import. All of this will be covered in our training. I'm just covering an overview right now. Data flows, very important. I love this feature. It allows modelers to use objects from connected sources when creating data sources or data flows to extract, transform, and load. If you heard about ETL, suppose in the classic BW system, you used to fetch data from Oracle, SuccessFactors, Salesforce, S4, ECC, right? It's a very similar thing. You want to fill your tables, which you created. Let's say I created a table called store transaction. Now I created the table in my data sphere, but the data is there in another system. Let's say BW system, or let's say in a ECC system. I can actually run a data flow which will go and look that data upon. It will bring the data and it can also transform the data. Like I can apply conversion function, date conversion, time function, currency conversion, and then load the data in my table. These are called data flows. Now, one example is to load the currency tables data. So if you want to do currency conversion in DataSphere, you can load currency conversion table data from the ECC system, from your ABAP system in the SAP DataSphere. So don't worry, this will also be covered as part of your training. I'll cover that. Now comes this replication flow. Replication flow allows modelers to replicate data from multiple sources, objects, from a connected source to target, including simple projections and mapping capabilities. Suppose in your company there is a requirement that you have created a table in datasphere with column A, B, and C. Now, there is a ECC system where you have data X and Y, and there is a BW system where you have data Z and let's say alpha. Now, you would want this data, you would want this data, and then you need to say X equal to A, Y equal to B, and alpha is equal to C. So please go and get this, and this projection. Yeah, this is your replication flow, and do the mapping and transfer this data like this. So from different sources, you can bring data to datasphere with projections and mapping capabilities. So you can fill your content in SAP datasphere from different connections and sources. Now, remember one important thing, not every connection support all the features. I already showed you when you try to add connection, it will show what features are supported with this connection. You see, only remote table is supported with Amazon Ethelna connection. Yeah. Precog, only remote table supported. BigQuery, only remote table supported. ABAP system, all three are supported. Yeah. Cloud integration, these two are supported. HANA, these three are supported. Yeah. So you can see different BW, these two supported. ECC, yeah, what is supported. So that is something which you can check. Now you can also see by not going to each connection, you can also use this link. Let me put the link of documentation. Directly you can go to help.sap.com and actually see what is supported and not supported by every connection. So let me open this link for you. And you see integration via connection. So when you come down, you see all the features and you see this table, which I like the most. So here you can see for every type of connection, what is supported and what is not. For example, BW, is remote table supported? Yes, including real-time replication. Is replication flow supported? Via connection type, above connection, you can do replication flow. Is data flow supported? Yes. Is model import supported? No. Category on-premise. Source SAP. So you can see that for different systems, it is a complete list of what is supported and what is not. And on quarter when SAP brings with the new version of datasphere, new patch of SAP datasphere, they increasing this options. They increasing not the just the connection types, but they're also increasing the options with a particular connection type. Let's say right now this marketing cloud replication flow is not supported. Maybe in the coming releases, yes, coming quarterly releases, they will offer this particular feature. So you keep referring this latest and greatest documentation provided directly from help.sap.com. Do not rely on any outdated PDF or old documents. Always refer here what is allowed or not. Because many times your manager, your lead, they may ask you, can I do data replication using this type of connection? Can I do data flow using this type of connection? Can I do a model import, model copy? Yes. So you see SAP BW model transfer connection. This type of connection when you use, you can actually do model import. But normal BW connection if you do, normal above connection if you do, you cannot do model import. You see? No. So model import is a very powerful feature that is basically BW bridge. We will see that in the coming episodes. So you can see based on this connection type, you can always come and check this matrix. So do not go by the hinge. Always check this matrix, what is allowed and what is not. So if you're trying to do a data flow connection with, let's say something, but it's not even supported, you keep trying to do it, it will not help you. It will not help you. So broadly, if you look at the connection types, connection options, we have SAP, we have database types of SAP and non-SAP. We have cloud-based hyperscalers, and we have external support. So for SAP, we have S4, S4 Cloud, ERP, ABAP, BW Model Transfer, BW Data Lake. These are the connection types. For databases, we have Oracle, SQL Server, JDBC, OData, local CSV files, FTP, file transfer protocol. Somebody asked me, can I use data from NSC, BSc? Can I load that in DataSphere? You can. SFTP is there. Yes. So if you work with NSC, BSc softwares, there is something called file transfer protocol, FTP servers. They provide, let's say, last evening or last Friday closing price for all the share market products. Yes, derivatives and securities. You can get the data from FTPs. Then we have hyperscaler. So we have Google Cloud, BigQuery, Azure, blob Store, Azure Data Lakes, Amazon. Yes. So these are the different options to choose. Then we have external tools like SAP, data services, Smart Data SDI, HANA Smart Data Integration, Landscape Transfer SLT. If you're using SLT in your company, you can also utilize that. These are external tools which are supported to be integrated with DataSphere as well, and each connection type support different type of features. So do not go blindly with, you know for any connection type. You have to see what features you want to use. You want to do data replication, data flow, ETL. You have to check that particular type of connection. So this comes to the end of our today's class. Let me add a section for the next episode here as session 5. So that was session 4 till today, and these slides we will start going through from tomorrow onwards. So this comes to the end, and tomorrow I'll show you how to add connection with SAP BW, S4HANA, ECC, any of the systems. Plus I'll also show you connecting with SAP HANA Cloud in BTP. That also will be part of tomorrow's class. So you will see all these connections, how do we do and how do we manage them in DataSphere. That is tomorrow's topic. I'll show you live in the system with a live system. Yeah. I will also show you in case you want a server access. We also offer server access for all of you. You can take our BW system, our S4 system, and you can connect it with the DataSphere. So that also you can take access from Anubhav trainings. We give this end-to-end real-time training with the real-time servers and systems. You can utilize all of that. So thank you so much once again for being part of today's class. I'll catch you up in the next episode tomorrow. We will talk about connections in tomorrow's class. That time we'll take questions also related to connections. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.